Corruption is a word that haunted the activities of the former government, and now it is casting a shadow on the current government. How are political parties in Sri Lanka responding to this issue? Newsfirst Chaturanga Hapuarachi has the details. Chaturanga?
Thank you very much, Mahina. We are joining once again from the newsroom. As you very correctly pointed out, corruption has been the word when it came to the political arena throughout the ages. Now, various political parties have been accusing the other political party of carrying out corruption and various malpractices in the country. But the public, we the public, continue to watch with frustration with these two questions in mind. Who are these perpetrators and when will they be brought before the law? News First has a recap of the exchange of words with regard to the politicians and the corruption that is taking place in our country.
This was not established to investigate corruption. This was established to provide the relevant documents to the FCID. There are 14 institutions to investigate corruption. There is the FCID, the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, the CID, the Presidential Commission. Corruption in the state is looked into separately under the Establishment's Code. Therefore, we cannot be spending on this any longer. There are questions regarding the services that have been provided by this institution in comparison to the money that has been spent. They have been sending the files here and there without even a proper inspection. The FCID was not appointed to look into minor offences but the major ones. When this institute directs it there, the FCID will have to investigate it. When everything is sent to the Attorney General's department, the AG complains saying that he cannot investigate 3,000 complaints, taking into consideration the number of people working at the department.
What about the delay?
I will tell you the reason for the delay. The FCID says it has received 82 files, but the process is being undermined because everyone goes in the same line.
Minister Amaravira said that they need to be forgiven for any mistakes that may have occurred in the past.
According to the law of the country, we cannot forgive anyone. The pardon needs to be granted by the court. Can the cabinet decide whether a suspect needs to be granted pardon? Are there cabinets like this in the world?
The statement by Gotabaya Rajapaksa says that justice must be served.
Justice is there in abundance for them. It is the public that does not have justice.
The members of the SLFP who are in the government have several charges against them as well.
Cases have been filed against them. Who is Priyanka Rajaratna? Who is Fauci? Cases have been filed against them, but no cases filed against the others. Therein lies the problem.
14 institutions to tackle corruption in the country. That's what Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne had to say. When it came to corruption in the country, the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, the JVP, took to the forefront always to reveal certain actions of corruption, malpractices, irregularities happening with the money of you and I, the public of this country. The JVP also had something to say about the level of corruption taking place in the country at present. Let's take a listen. There is political interference. Complaints have been lodged against several ministers in the government and investigations are ongoing. For instance, there is a complaint against a current cabinet minister on allegations of dried areca nut re-export. An allegation has been levelled against current government ministers for obtaining 30 million rupees from Lanka Transformers Limited and used it for personal political work. A complaint has been lodged against former Fisheries Minister Rajitha Senaratne for leasing a fisheries harbour for a low price to a British company on the 30th October 2014. Minister Nimal Siripal de Silva is accused of the Ging Nilwala project. The Paddy Research Board incurred a loss of 4,000 million rupees and the subject minister was from the United National Party. The new governor, Rohitha Bogolagama, who served as the chairman of the BOI, had left a London hotel without settling the bill after staying there during the Sri Lanka Trade Fair and Conveners meeting. The government had to pay that bill, which came up to 1.1 million. There are complaints regarding this. He spent millions for the daughter's birthday party. 2 million was spent for the cake itself. 211 luxury vehicles were released tax-free for Minister Ravi Karunanayake. That charge is there. That incurred a loss of 1,262 million rupees. There was an allegation that the antique furniture at a house where the Minister of Higher Education at the time, SP Disanayake, built a boarding house for the Colombo University were stolen. The value of the house was 240 million rupees. There is an allegation against Minister Akila Viraj saying that he made an appointment going against the monetary regulations. Minister Range Bandara's office has filed a complaint that Minister Anura Priyadarshini provided 600,000 rupees from the Ministry of Petroleum to distribute goods for the nation. There are a number of allegations against the ministers and deputy ministers of the government.
There is something the president sees very clearly. The Rajapaksa family has been pampered from Ranil Wickremesinghe's side. What is this tactic of Ranil Wickremesinghe? There is an election that will come in the future. There is an election in the Sabragama province. Ranil thinks that the best way to win the election is to keep the SLFP divided. Who does this task of dividing this? Mahinda Rajapaksa.
As we mentioned earlier on, before we started revealing to you about the various views expressed by the political party, it was not only the main political parties that revealed details or spoke about corruption today. The Jatika Helorume, the JHU, also spoke of corruption. Let's have a listen.
We presented a number of complaints against the Chief of Staff of the President, Damani Senrath. We provided these complaints to the Bribery Commission and the Anti-Corruption Secretariat. We provided it to the CID, the Inland Revenue Department. There has been no progress. Who is going to be responsible for these complaints that we have lodged? Before compiling a new constitution, the main task this government had was to nab the perpetrators.
Former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa arrived in the court premises today regarding the avant-garde case with former President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
It does not matter whether it was there or not. Wherever it has come from, it has to come from the President's office and the Prime Minister's office. No one can lodge complaints there. You can clearly see where these are carried out from. I can see that the Minister is a bit upset these days. He's chasing us more. He's bringing files. They're attacking us at a rate. Several activities of the former government comes to mind when you speak of corruption, irregularities and even crimes. Can you remember the assassination of Lasantha Wickrematunge, the disappearance of journalist Prageet Teknaligoda, the bombing of various media institutions, including our media institution, then the irregularity with regard to the Cyrilia account, the MIG deal. Various corrupt activities happened during the previous government. These are, of course, the views expressed by the current government before they came into power in the run-up to the presidential election and even the general election. The list does not seem to end there. The mansion that was located in the Malvana area, the coal tender corruption that happened, the hedging deal, the Greek bond issue, these are all allegations that were raised against the previous government. But when you take a look at this government, the present government, there's of course the bond scam that happened not just once but twice, in February 2015 and in March 2016. There is the fraud that happened with regard to the Central Highway. The Volkswagen, of course, we followed the story very closely. The Prime Minister mentioned the name of our news station at another event prior, or rather subsequent to the opening of the Volkswagen issue as well. The alcohol distillery that is being constructed in the Calcutta area was another allegation that was raised against this government. The Google Loon project was an allegation raised against the current government. The list of corruption does not seem to stop in our country, and sometimes when you take a look at this, these are all funds of the general public, the money that belongs to you and I. So when we take a look at all of this, this government came into power with the promise of eradicating corruption in the country and bringing the perpetrators before the law. What we continue to see is that the political parties continue to point the finger at various other people, saying that they did the mistake. And up to now, Dr. Minister Rajitha said that there are 14 institutions to tackle corruption in the country. Up to now, has anyone been arrested with regard to corruption or even the criminal activities that they themselves mentioned before coming into power? Have they forgotten what they said? Where is the good governance that they spoke of? And where is the good governance when it comes to governing the country under their government? So these are, of course, questions that we have to ask. Between the 10 to 15 years that has passed from 2005
to 2015 and then 2016 and the present year 2017. Take a look at, think to yourself, the amount of corruption that has taken place in our country. Who is telling the truth? Or are they just all together pointing the finger at each other so that the public will be deceived? Are they trying to hoodwink the public with whatever is going on with regard to the opposition and the government? Who are the real perpetrators? We are a media house. We report, you decide.